What's up, guys? It's Chad. Welcome back to the Dorky and 40 RC channel. Underneath this body shell is not my CRC metrics, which I've been running in GT12. What it is an Awesomatix A12. This is the old school A12 edition. So we're going to talk about this in the metrics car and the GT12 class. So once again, welcome back to the channel. I'm Chad. First of all, big shout out to all of my channel members. Appreciate all of you guys. If you would like to join and support what we're doing here on the channel, there is a link in the join button below. So I've always wanted an Awesomatix. I've seen people at the highest level around me running Awesomatix cars and other cars and always kicking my ass. Like, I pretty much am in the ring with like Ali, multiple Alis all the time. Kind of like in a hotbed of RC, which I'm very, very lucky about. What that does is that makes you really improve your skills. It makes you spend a lot more money than you probably should, which is the great thing about this Awesomatix car. Is it actually was an old car from a friend of the channel, OG Bo, that we do a lot of oval racing with. He gave up on road years ago because he sucked at it and he loves to hunt the glory. He's a great oval racer though, for sure. Sold his car to a friend. Friend decided he was getting out of it. I picked it up. Of course, we got it last week. We got it up and running. My metrics is right here with the electronics and everything torn out of it. Don't worry. We are in the process right now of building stuff because I want to run these things head to head. Now, my metrics is in a little bit of a different condition right now compared to it was before. So I have a lot of RC parts on here, but it is mostly a Synergy RC car here now, as you can tell by all the different carbon. So we've got like the Bodos chassis, upper plate, servo brace, we've got it all. And then we were running like Awesomatix springs in the front, we're running the Sagami dampers, and we are running Awesomatix springs here in the back. And like we've done in other videos before here, I'll talk about it right here, my setup. You know, we've had to do a lot to these cars, but the point that I'm trying to make is that on-road, in my opinion, should be bigger than what it is. But like the barrier to entry, again, like every other RC car, is like crazy. You go from like this $200-300 car to like these $1,000 crazy cars. And these guys that I race on-road with, I mean, I race one class. Now I have two cars for one class. They've got multiple cars for like multiple classes. Like, they're insane. The good thing about the A12 though, is that if the metrics turns out to be as good as I still believe it is that Matt Bodos and Synergy RC Racing actually makes a conversion kit for this to turn it into a 10 scale WGTR pan car, which is also very popular. So basically for $150, I ended up getting an amazing deal on everything. And I've got an Atom 2 Schumacher that is loaded down with like hundreds of dollars in parts. If anybody is interested in picking that up for a really good deal, you just let me know. So the whole point that I'm trying to do is bring a little bit more visibility to GT12 racing, LMH, GT12 actually. We get to run these cool LMH bodies and stuff on there now. It's the best time ever to get into GT12. The metrics chassis and stuff at $280, $300 with maybe about another $40, $50 in parts that I would deem necessary, because more than likely you're going to need things like some softer springs, a couple things to just make the kit a little bit easier to deal with to get your ride height done, especially if you're going to be running something like the gravity tires, which are pretty much instant traction and change the game for new people with GT12. You can always try different things with tires, and yeah, you're probably going to have to replace these depending upon how much you race. Maybe once a month if you're racing every weekend. Maybe you could go a little bit longer. The Awesomatix seems to be wearing a little bit better than the metrics did because the car just doesn't roll as much. But between these two chassis, a lot of the stuff is pretty much the same, especially now that we've done a lot of different changes. You know, we've got vertical side dampers here instead of the one vertical damper underneath there for the Awesomatix. It's got a very interesting roll and pivot system here. I do have a carbon fiber chassis that Matt is actually fixing for me. And underneath here, you know, you can see the CRC's got the same kind of like pivot screws and all of that kind of stuff. So running super soft setup, USGT spec motor, and you know, the cheapest Hobbywing ESC that you can get, or any 1S capable ESC. You know, all you need to do is meet the weight requirements and run that motor, and you're running GT12. Now, how did the Awesomatix do? Same layout, everything else. I finally got it up and running by Q2 because we had a lot of work to do to get it going. I still think there's some things that we need to work on with the car, but we got the ride height, it's set up, everything pretty good, nice and soft suspension, everything's plush. Did a little body modification on the holes. I've got another body brand new to put on the Awesomatix, and we'll put this one back on the metrics. Plan is this weekend to run both of them back to back. The only diffs that I have besides the spool, which I ain't going to run, is I've got 2 of the Awesomatix gear diffs now, which might not be the fastest, but they're definitely going to be the easiest to drive and should help give us a very good comparison between the 2 cars. Because right now, one wasn't glaringly obvious to me than the other. So if I can end up making and running just as good of times with the metrics, then that means that opens up the Awesomatix to be put into WGTR mode. And that's probably what we'll do, so we can run another car in on-road while we are at the track. Because time is precious when you're at the track and you're there for 5-6 hours on a club day. You got a couple hours of practice. Maybe you get in like 2 or 3 batteries. Then you get like 3 qualifiers and a main. So, you know, you get 20 minutes of racing. You pay the extra $5 more. You just doubled how much track time you have if you're running a second car. So it's always nice to have cars that are a little bit easy. They don't run LOSI or TTO2 on like normal club Saturdays. So that's kind of like the second car that I would run. But GT12 is... It's a great class for anybody to run. When it was first brought on to us, it kind of was like in a bad position, and it's still very ultra competitive because on-road people just kind of are. But your club might be at a spot where maybe you're building an on-road program and people don't want to invest a lot of money. There is so many like used 12 scale kits that are out there for $200 and $300 that I see on the Facebooks all day long, like my X-Ray X12 back there, that have well over $500, $600, $700, up to $1,000 of like parts and upgrades in the boxes that they're basically selling for $300 or $400. And any of them can be made to have fun with and be competitive. And then again, the metrics car at $280 and some changes to the setup, maybe some nice option parts if you're feeling, you know, kind of funky and want to go crazy. And like you're in the house, you got the awesome battery. These things aren't as demanding on batteries like my 1S oval truck. Like I saved my Primo 1S battery packs for my oval because I'm within like hundreds of seconds of people. I'm that competitive with it. With these, I'm a lap or 2 down still from the main players. Like I'm just kind of trying to stay in that bunch of like the regular Joes and be above them. That is like my goal. Unfortunately, summertime, Ohio, we've got dirt tracks around here, and you know, this part of the world, America, like off-road buggy is like where it's at, whether you're outdoors or even on carpet. We ran the buggy a couple weeks ago. There was more people at a local, or we have a track about an hour away that pulls 60 to like 100 entries every 2 weeks on a Saturday night. Like they start at like 5 o'clock and they don't get done until 1 in the morning on carpet. Every 2 weeks, like people just love it. They're going crazy. So, you know, I love doing the on-road thing. I love doing it all. I go back and forth on like what I'm doing. It's hard to like, and very costly to try to maintain multiple racing programs in different classes. But I also am trying to like help grow RC racing in general on the channel. And that's why we're going to do this comparison here. Again, finding a used A12 is probably going to be pretty hard, especially at like the deal that I got it at. So what we're trying to do is to find out if a brand new metrics kit can be just as fast. Right now, the Awesomatix has the hot lap and a little bit of consistency, but I think the metrics is going to give it a good run, and we will find out this weekend. So we've got some work to do. As you can see, we got shit all over this bench, cars, containers, everything. And we've got oval racing to do club racing tomorrow night. And then we're probably going to do some oval racing back up at Louisville RC on Sunday on that little bull ring. If you didn't see my video where the poor truck got destroyed, we started fourth. We were in first, then we were in eighth, and then we finished third. So that's what's going on. So we're going to get this stuff ready to go this week. We'll talk about the buggy maybe a little bit as well. I don't really have much to talk about since we did our last video about the buggy. Just a little bit of changes, playing with tires, just improving on consistency. You know, if you're new or kind of slower, that 40 plus setup that's on the B7 from Brent from the US Champs, totally recommend that setup to everybody. Get that thing going. Grab some R1 parts, screws, and their servo and stuff to throw in there if you're building a new B7 build. And I think you will be super happy. And then you can start working on toning down that very ultra conservative, wide, long wheelbase type of B7 carpet buggy. So we were all over the place in the video, but the main focus is GT12 LMH. So we will talk to you guys later. Appreciate all of you. Peace.